Hey, Jay here. We're with a 2021 CRF450RL. They changed the name a little bit, so they give it the R, so it'd be all racing. This bike is a lot of dream bike for a lot of dual sport guys that aren't Austria fans who want a Japanese Honda. They're used to these bikes. That's what they're looking forward to. This bike, I rode it last year, and it's pretty good. They are, as Honda would do, very corked up and so forth. Today, this bike right here is a closed course bike for riding in course, and we're going to ride it in, it's going to be kept in Baja, in Mexico. So all good there as far as emissions and so forth. So we're going to switch our muffler. We're going to put an ECU on it and open up the airbox right now. I'm going to ride it right now, give you some thoughts on it, and see what it takes when we switch this around, how it feels. So the stock muffler, still a little hot on here. We're just pulling that off. We've got our mounts. There's just one mount right there, and a top one. So you got the two mounts, and then one at the clamp right there. We'll weigh this versus the FMF before we put them on. Okay, we got our FMF on there. As you can see, it's 6.3. Now we're going to go grab the stalker. We'll throw the stalker on here. 6.3 pounds sounds like a lot, I think, for a muffler, but I'm pretty confident this stock one is substantially heavier. So let's pull the FMF off. Whoosh-oop. Now we're down to 0, so we're good. Stalker comes on. A lot burlier here. 13.19, so 7 pounds. Let's pull that off. 7 pound difference. So let's get that on there right now. Okay, so here we're just gonna undo the airbox lid. This is all on here stock. Got a little clip, and we're gonna remove this. And then we'll also see about removing the backfire screen off of the air filter itself. So we're gonna take the air filter off now. You can see this bike hasn't even really got dirty yet. Let's set that on the counter. So we got our filter. We're going to pull our filter off first here. It has little tabs that clip in place. And this filter is still in good shape, but we typically run the uni filter. Get that on there. And as you can see, the cage here has little tabs. You just bend them up. Don't stab yourself, but just bend them up. Pretty simple deal. Just like so. You're going to bend it. And I have videos showing this as well, but one of the easiest, simplest mods. Now on this X and L, these bikes, you can't do any of these mods without changing the ECU settings, and you can't modify the stock ECU, so you have to change out the ECU. Okay. And you just pop that out right there, and you just throw that in the trash, and we'll put our filter back. Back here on this L project, it's actually been a few days. We had a little problem our first afternoon we were working on this thing. We figured out that the slip-on we had would not go on. On the RL version, you have to have a bigger header. From what we can tell, at least FMF does not have a slip-on for it. Also, if you were to get a slip-on from someone else, the L header is very small diameter. So I think you'd want to get a bigger diameter header. So we've got our exhaust off right now, cooling off because we just rode this bike over here and it's really hot. So we got the exhaust off. So we're going to put the header on, the FMF rear muffler on. We got our vortex we're going to put on. There's 4 bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 going in like this. Come on in here, Cole, you can check this out. So now we can lift up on here, and we're gonna be able to start accessing this and get the ECU off. So we figured out, in getting this up, I got some tips from some guys that were a little more familiar with these. And you just unplug the plug here, the electrical plug, and get that off. We got that unpinched off. Now we're gonna pull the ECU off right now, the stock ECU. And the bracket, so Vortex has their own bracket. And so we'll need to bolt this bracket in that place or it won't work. So you have to run this bracket. And so that's one reason we have to lift up here. We're gonna get that bracket bolted in here right now. It's just an 8mm bolts. In the past Hondas we've worked on, these spacers fall out. So you wanna hold those spacers or they go falling all through your motorcycle and you can't find them. And then, so we're gonna remove those two. It's kind of like Yahtzee in here. So we drop these little washers. For some silly reason, they have these washers here on this side, so you have to, everything just kind of falls apart when you open this thing up. Kind of a drag. So we're gonna get this thing bolted up. So I think we're gonna go just like that position right there. It might take a few hands. I might have to help hold in here. So the bracket's like this. We have our spacer on here. We're gonna feed it through and then get our washer onto the bolt. It's somewhat difficult to hold that thing and get it all sandwiched in there and get it started. You wanna get this one started and like 3/4 the way on just by finger, and then you can do the other side. So we're bringing the washer in and it kind of goes underneath, and it's a little bit difficult. And again, if you drop one of these washers, it drops right in there and can be kind of hard to find. One of our bikes, Spencer, I don't think we ever found the washer. Fell out in the trail somewhere. Okay, now we'll tighten those two up. Now we're gonna put our ECU in here. We're gonna plug it in first. You'll hear it click when it's all the way in. Plug it in there, Cole, to the plug. That's the click of 700 bucks. Boom. Okay, so we figured out that this thing actually unhooks back here and makes it a whole lot easier when you're trying to get the ECU back in. So now we got more room here. Cole's gonna put the ECU in place. Sometimes a little spit on that rubber part helps, but you just get that bottom one started, then you can push the top one on up here. And they're kind of tight, but that's the way it's supposed to be so it doesn't move around. So once we get that on, and then we're gonna get our plastic top frame piece here aligned back in. Okay, so Honda did us a real nice favor here. They put two wash spacers here. The short one goes in the back, the tall one goes in the front. They are different. I just assumed there's no way Honda would do that to us. They did it to us. Don't know why they would bother with this and just not make them both the same. Short one in the back, long one in the front. Do that on both sides. Just bolt it together. Come on, Cole, we've been doing this too long. Let's move. Here we go. Hold this out here. This way you don't have to take the tank off or anything to mess with this, which saves you a little bit of work. We'll probably be doing that at another time. So now we got all of our bolts started. Now we'll tighten them up with a T-handle. We're leaving our lid off, as we are knowing. I got our backfire screen off. Tighten there. Tighten there. Okay, so we should be good to go here. Now we're gonna get our exhaust on. We'll start with our header, get our exhaust going. Pretty straightforward on this. We didn't notice anything crazy here. We've done lots of these over the years. You can get to the bolts pretty easy. It looks like nothing drastic. But as you can see, there's the header. I don't know what diameter that is. I could actually measure it. Then here is the stock header. way smaller in diameter. I'll measure that just for fun. So this head pipe, like back here, is like 1.1, so 1 1/8. Yeah. And then up here on this sucker, we are 1 3/8-ish range in inches. I could tell you in millimeters. So around 33.5 millimeters. And then this one's around 28.8. So yeah, right in there. So that's a big difference in diameter, a lot of volume between the two head pipes. Okay, so we're gonna tighten the first bolt here just about half, 3/4 of the way, maybe like 3/4. We had to bend this tab a little bit. Point to that tab right there. Now I don't know if that's because of the X and R being a little different, but we had to bend that tab backwards. Which way we have to bend it?
Backwards.
So we just bent it right back that way on that little tab, and it went right. Now it lines up perfect. Let's get the rear on. So now I'll go tighten up the header first. Keep everything loose. Go tighten up the header. Work your way from front to back. You know, we don't ever tighten up the header fully. And then I like to look at the header and make sure I get them even. So you get kind of the same number of threads visible on both. And just good and snug. These don't really ever come loose unless you're really silly. Now we'll go tighten up the mid-pipe point. And then the tailpipe. And we're gonna put our plastic on and go get this thing started. Okay, so we've got it all buttoned up. We just started it. It starts right up. One little downside we notice. Starts up. Now we're gonna go try it out. We'll come back and report back. But with vortexes, we like to set the TPS, which is pretty simple to do on all other bikes. But on this bike, it won't let you because the kill switch is built in to the starter button, so you can't have them both on at the same time. To be able to set the TPS with the vortex, you need to be able to hold the kill button down and the starter button, set it at 0, and then set it to full throttle. You can't do it, unfortunately. So someone with the software has got to do it for you. So we have a guy that'll do it for us. So, but for right now, we're going to see how it runs like this. Okay, so we're back. Just got to test ride this thing, and wow, had to put my jacket on because it's a little cold, and that's a huge difference. I think, we don't know the exact numbers, but we're thinking somewhere between 7 and 10 horsepower gain with doing what we just did. So it's a substantial difference. Our guy thought this thing was really fast before, thought it was nice and smooth. Now it's like a totally different bike. So it's gonna be fun to compare this to an EXC 450 or 500. It's gonna be nice, fun to compare them at here soon. But those gives you some good ideas. I tell you right now, the power felt really smooth and nice, and it was really nice as the sound. As you can, you heard on that sound is pretty cool. Really nice sound, not too loud at all. It's not very obnoxious. It doesn't sound like a motocross bike coming at you on the road or trail. So that part's really nice. Got the Sparky in there. You could remove that if you wanted and test with that. We haven't done that, but it feels like $1 million. So that's really incredible. So that's a good first step for your Honda. Pulling the backfire screen off, pulling the air filter top lid off, the vortex, the FMF. I think your L's gonna be in great shape. So this is a good look at our project here at first step. I don't know what we're gonna do next. We're gonna be doing some other things, hand guards, tires, some of those kind of things that you want to do on these bikes. But that gives us a really good start on this bike. Really cool bike, and it's got that good feeling Honda comfort on it. So it'll be fun to see how this thing goes long term. I think if you got one of these and are doing those mods, you're gonna love it.